Sorry, guys, I had to get the thumbnail. Okay, now that we're ready, welcome, welcome. My name's Shay, and I help people who are just like me, gamers, anime enthusiasts, to gain 10 pounds of muscle, right? Or the first pound of muscle that they'll ever want and the last pound of muscle that they'll ever need. Okay, and I know it's been a while since I've posted, and no, this video is not clickbait, okay? Um, 1,300 plus gym sessions, and I want to teach you about the 5 lessons that I've learned that are really, really important. And the great thing is that whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced in this journey, it doesn't matter because they apply to every single person. Okay. And I think for a lot of you that are struggling to get started in the gym, I think this will really, really help you. Okay. So, and one other thing, I'm also very proud of you for clicking on this video because you could have clicked on anything else on the internet that was bullshit garbage. Okay. And yeah, I'm just really proud of you because you're taking a step towards, wanting to take care of yourself better, and learn from someone. So, anyways, let's get started, right? So, the first lesson, and mind you, I have my computer right here just so I can organize this better, but there will never be the perfect time to start. Okay? This is something that a lot of you beginners have to work around, okay? There will never be the perfect motivation. There will never be this perfect point. And I know you've heard that before, but what does that actually mean, right? It means that if you wait for the perfect moment, you'll always be waiting because it doesn't exist. Because in life, you're always going to have some degree of problems. And when you solve one problem, there's going to be another problem, right? So, and that's also what they say. Like when you get promoted in your in your workspace, or when you finish that anime, or when you finish a video game, there's always another thing to do. You know what I mean? So there's no real end to this thing. So I always tell myself, I always reframe it as instead of, I will start in the perfect conditions, which is not the mindset you want to have, which is what most people have. You want to have the mindset that goes, the perfect conditions are the imperfect conditions or the not perfect conditions because those are the conditions in which I'm tested the most. Meaning that if those are the conditions I'm tested in the most, it's almost guaranteed that I can do this stuff in the perfect conditions. So let's say, you have the busiest semester you've ever had. You're juggling a job, you have, you know, maybe a relationship, maybe you're watching a whole lot of anime. Maybe there's a new DLC that came out for some game, you know what I mean? I know Elden Ring recently came out. I've just been watching, I haven't played it or anything. But, and you're on with the homies every day. It's like if you're really, really busy with that stuff and you like doing that stuff, cool. I challenge you, okay? And this is an actionable step. And I like including these because then people can actually apply this like practically, like tactically, right? Is I challenge you to make a Google Calendar. And I know what a lot of you are thinking right now in your head. It's like, oh, that's going to be restrictive. I don't want to do that. Okay, think about it like this. Set up your day so that you have the perfect day. Even schedule in your video games and stuff like that. And immediately the resistance that you feel in your head is of you having to allocate time to playing video games because you know you're going to go overboard. You know you're going to have a shitty sleep schedule as a result of it. You already know that. So that is to fight off the resistance. And guess what? When the better half of you sits down and makes that schedule, what happens is you can be brain dead and then keep following that schedule and you'll be doing way better than what you were doing before, okay? And then way later in the future you can take some time to adjust it as it goes by because a lot of you, I'm going to include it in the same point. I just thought of this, and a lot of you tend to say this is I don't have time, I can't find time. And the thing is, you have to make time for this. You have to make time. And the schedule helps you see that because the schedule is like an objective numbers game, right? That helps you see, oh, I have time in this slot. I have time in this slot. Because I'll be honest, the excuses a lot of you make, and I don't mean to be like this David Goggins hardcore mode, although I think that motivation is okay for a lot of people. What I want you to think about is The only person you help when you make that excuse are the people that don't want to see you succeed. So I know I'm being tough on you, but I want to see you succeed. Every person who's been in the gym wants another guy who's getting into the gym to succeed. Every content creator that has made content always wants other people to see them succeed. Every person that's an entrepreneur or wants to be in business, they want to see other people do that thing. It'll always be the losers that have something to say about this. So that's why I want you to do this. Take this actionable step so that schedule out everything that's going on and take a list of your priorities. Okay, maybe you don't have 2 hours to work out. Cool, it's fine. That's perfectly okay. But maybe you have a 30-minute time slot, and maybe that's perfect because you're just getting started. And maybe 2 hours was never even ideal to begin with. Maybe you could actually get a really good workout with a few movements and make significant progress. You know what I mean? Um, and so, yeah, make that schedule, and you'll see time slots in which you have time availabilities. And that, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to challenge your mind. You're going to be like, I don't want to, I don't have that time available, but this is the time I need to do this. It's going to happen. Okay. Something I like telling myself, and this might not work for you because you have to actually try going to the gym for this, but I'll always feel better after I've hit the gym. Sorry if I'm getting any sort of crackling in the background, by the way, guys. I know this mic kind of sucks. I'm working on getting a new one, but yeah, I'll always feel better after the gym. Kind of like a lot of you don't feel after a ranked game or DLC game of Overwatch. You know, I I play the first game ranked game of Overwatch in a long time, and I'll feel good about it because my Genji skills are coming back, stuff like that. But then after a while, I'm like, man, I'm more mad at this than I am happy. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it real, okay? The only reason you're really on the console is because you want to spend time playing with the people you like being around. That's pretty much it. You could play any game with them, realistically, right? But yeah, not to digress too far off my point, that is what you need to do. So if you get that like 3 a.m. motivation, or you start listening to a motivational video, or you're listening to me right now, maybe work on it while you're listening to me right now. Because you had the burst of motivation to click on this video to find out what you could do better. So maybe you start doing that by doing better right now. Because if you have the time to listen to this, hopefully you're not driving in a car or something like that. If you are, okay, listen, just save the video for later and listen to it again. But yeah, that's lesson number one. Lesson number two, there will be times where you have no support system. And I really want to highlight this to you guys, okay? The people closest to you sometimes, and this really sucks to say, are sometimes going to be the very people that don't really support you. And by support, I mean encourage you that you're doing good for yourself, okay? And that they're proud of you. Sometimes you're not going to get that from your siblings, your parents, your friends. You're not going to get that from everybody. Friends are people you can let go of, but family is like, it's a little bit harder and trickier, and it hurts a little bit more when they don't. But that's the reality. And I don't mean to like put my family on blast and talk about like any sort of problems. I keep that like safe, any specific problems, but like anything relating to this, I still want to talk about because I know there's someone out there that struggles with that. So I want you to go into this with the mindset that I'm going to be doing this without any support, and any support that I get is a bonus. If you have a partner that supports you, if you have a friend that supports you, who's like, dude, I want to see you win, dude, you look bigger, dude, you're doing good for yourself. Fucking awesome, dude. Honestly, cherish that. That should be seen as a bonus. But the reason I don't want you to see it as something that is a necessity or you need to, because then guess what happens? You say, oh, I'm not getting support, and that's why I'm not reaching my goals. And do you know what that means? Do you know exactly what that means? That means that unless I have support, I'm not going to be able to reach my goals, which means that my support determines whether I reach my goals. And if you weren't in the environment to help you reach your goals to begin with, you might not have been watching this video at all. Meaning that you either need to change the people that you surround yourself with, right? Because you can't change the people around you, you can't change them, but you can still change the people around you because you have the choice to associate yourself with them. That's one thing you can do, but if that's a little bit difficult, and because easier said than done, right? Like I completely get it. Try to surround yourself with more content creators or more people that have the voices in your head that want what's best for you, that support the better version of you, because you'll want to be around that more. I remember when I was getting into the gym, I would listen to a lot of motivational videos, and that helped me because it counterbalanced all the other bullshit I was hearing about how I can't do this, how I'm not enough, how I'm not these things. How I felt like I was perpetually lonely and I couldn't get with anybody because all of my friends at the time told me that, oh, this girl's out of my league, or this person I can't get with, or anything like that. And that motivational video, those videos, like people say they don't help, but in my opinion, they do. They do if you take action upon them. They do when you don't feel like going to the gym and you play it and you slowly just put on your socks. Then you put on your outfit. Then you grab your car keys and you get into the car. You take it step by step while you're listening to it, and you drive to the gym. You take it step by step, and you can't let your ego get in the way of that. You have to go step by step because maybe that's all you're good at. And I know that hurts to hear, but maybe that is all you're good at right now because you haven't built that. How do you expect yourself to be good at a character in a video game when you've never played them before? You need to think about the basics. Oh, like for example, when I was a Genji main back in Overwatch, a lot of you might understand this analogy. He was a very hard character. He's one of those characters where it's like he takes a lot of practice to learn and master. And if you're not good at him, and if he doesn't go up against the right characters, you almost have to switch off immediately because you can't use his ultimate abilities, stuff like that. So you have to have a mastery over him. And the only way you do that is by playing the character for hours and minute little things that then become habit. You have to consciously think about these things before they become habits. You have to be like, okay, I have to dash up into the air because I'm a ninja, so no one sees me, and then I can use my blade, and then I can use my ultimate ability, and then they can't hit me because I'm in the air. Those nuanced little things take time to build. You know what I mean? So once they become such a habit because you've done them over and over again, that is discipline. That's discipline. So yeah, if it comes down to doing things in a very, very small and minute manner, like you have to take it step by step, so be it, dude. Let go of your ego, because the voices in your head telling you that that's too small of a thing for me to do. It's like that voice is trying to fight back against all the hate that you got about how you're not enough and all that, and like, oh, I'll show them, I'll prove them wrong. But it's like you're not helping yourself because you're just making the process have a lot more friction than it needs to. So yeah. So I know that went into a little side tangent, but there's also mini lessons within other lessons. So I just kind of like doing that, talking about it because I just want to, you know, help y'all out a little bit more. But yeah, expect there to be no support essentially. And I remember this quote from Iro. He goes, I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something like, in the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength. And I know to a lot of you that might sound corny, but like I learned a lot of my basic morality from anime because it's not just a cartoon, it's storytelling, it's art, in my opinion. Um, so Uncle Iroh is the G, by the way. But yeah, he helped me out with that. And that helped me understand that you do have to give yourself that hope. And that's how you build the inner strength, is that you're not reliant upon other people's support to do what's good for you. Because if I relied on my, for example, parents' support or my friends' support, I would not be where I am today. I would not have the physique. I would not have gone from 120 pounds to 190 pounds with still visible abs. That, granted, they're not great, But yeah, I'm bulking currently, so it's not gonna be amazing. I can't wait to cut. But yeah, like I was able to gain 70 pounds because I was going through that resistance in my mind, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna beat this. I don't need this support. It's great. And I'm not saying that you got to pretend like you're this lone wolf. If you're getting support, dude, that's amazing. Cherish that. Because when you don't have that, it really sucks. Like it really does. Because you're human at the end of the day, and we like that social interaction, and that's a positive thing for us. And in psychology, that kind of uh, attributes or helps us be within the realm of positive emotion when we socialize and things like that, when we're very extroverted, right? Uh, and so, yeah, if you're getting that, great, keep that up. And encourage you to at least try to help your friends to move towards that. But let's get to lesson three, right? There are a small amount of things that give you the most amount of return. This is so important. Holy shit. Okay. So this is going to help a lot of you guys out that are advanced go back to the basic principle of things. And then for a lot of you who are starting out to focus on the basic principles that'll give you the most amount of results. Okay. Ignore the BS fad diets. Ignore the, oh, this one exercise doubled my biceps, or this one routine is the way to go about it all, or this is how to do this the one way. Everybody's different, dude. And I'm pretty sure I didn't need to tell you that. You already know that. It's just a reminder. But what does that mean in the context of fitness? It means that your cardio can literally be a lot of things. I can go right out here right now, take a walk at a decently fast pace, and that's good for me. I could do it on a treadmill if I wanted to. I could do boxing. I could go swimming. I could do a hit workout. I could be in a group class fitness. I could, yeah, dude, I could do a whole lot of things. I could be in a marathon. That's one way to get my cardio in. Now, when it comes to building muscle, there is a little bit less things you could do because to build muscle, your muscle needs to resist against something in order to build the muscle up, you know? And that's why we call it resistance training or weight training. Because to get bigger muscles, you need to properly lift heavier weight, essentially, right? To be able to build that muscle up so that it breaks and then your muscle feels it and it goes, oh my God, I need to adapt so that I survive. Oh my God, I need to adapt so I survive. So it has to get bigger. It has to get bigger. Okay. So the few things that I would focus on if you really wanted to get a lot bigger from the perspective of a guy who was skinny, 120 pounds, hella into anime, hella into gaming, you know what I mean? Made time for those things and the gym would be to, instead of focusing on a particular kind of diet, focus on your protein intake from a diet perspective. Focus on your protein intake and focus on your calorie intake. Okay. Why are those things important? The protein is what's going to help recover you and build up that muscle. Okay. Because most people, most people around you, we heavily lack protein within our diet. And like there's been research that shows that if you just have protein, it is so good for you and so good for your longevity and so good for your muscles. It's just a no-brainer. Okay, so have fats and carbs in your diets, but don't get like too monotonous about them. Or I don't even know if that's the right word. I'm just using big fancy words. Don't get too like hung up over them essentially, because you'll get them from other parts of your diet. Your diet is already probably really shit right now. Okay, and so that's why I always say, like, hey, that's why I say, hey, focus on these basics because they're going to be better than what you're already doing, most likely. Okay. And that's going to help you level up in terms of your diet. That's going to help you bulk up. And bulking up early on, especially as a beginner, a lot of the advanced guys in the comments or the intermediate guys in the comments will tell you, like, dude, you make so much faster progress at the beginning. That's why I have my coaching to begin with. And I know I'm kind of like half selling you here or whatever, but that's why I'm a coach. It's because I want people to get faster results, but because you also make the most amount of progress you ever will right now, and it progressively gets slower. You know what I mean? So your first gym session, or not session, sorry, first year in the gym, you're gonna make the most progress you've ever made. Okay, second year, a little bit less. Third year, a little less, little less, little less, little less, and it just keeps going like that. Okay. So you can make the most amount of progress, but that's also why people fall into the, oh, I got to learn everything I can so that I make the most amount of progress. And if you want to do that, I highly recommend investing in a coach, aka, I guess, me. If you're a fan of my content, there's like an application, maybe in the bio, whatever, or you could just join the free community if you feel like you need a little bit more time. That's perfect. Just use the free videos, okay? Um, so, so yeah. Um, you want to do those little things and focus on them because they give you the most bang for your buck. So right now, don't worry about having a specific split. Okay, just do the push pull legs. Look up any workout that you think looks cool. Do that in terms of weightlifting. Okay, to build muscle. Okay, because doing cardio exercise stuff like that, that's great, but that's not gonna like directly result in building muscle. And so you want to do resistance training or weight training. Now, if you're scared that you're going to get injured because you don't know enough, that's fair. I completely get it. In that case, I would do machines. If anybody tells you that free weights and machines, one is better than the other, they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, because the research shows that they're pretty much the same. Okay, and especially if you're trying to build muscle, right? Machines help because they lower the amount of uh, sort of risk of injury because there's only a certain way you can move the machines. Dumbbells, you can move whatever way you want, right? Machines, not so much. Okay. So, what I'd recommend is if you go to the gym, right? I should have a free workout link in the description, just completely free doc. Click on it and just look up the exercises that I have on there, and if you're a beginner, just do a few of them. I don't expect you to do the whole workout. Just show up, do a few of them because that's more than what you're doing before. And look up a video on how to do them. Okay. Or if you're on a machine, the great thing about machines in most gyms is that they'll show you how you do the movement with little pictures on the side. Okay. So, or or another option is ask the biggest guy in the gym or someone who's using the machine how you use it. Chances are the biggest guy in the gym, you're gonna think I'm crazy for this, but they're the nicest. They're usually the nicest people in the gym. The okay, I don't want to insult them because they're in the gym more, but usually the guys who are more beginners tend to have more of an ego and are more disrespectful. Typically, from my experience, this is not like science based, so don't just go around thinking like, oh, that guy's a dickhead because he just started, or that guy's like sweet because he's big. But like usually that's what I've seen. They're not gonna be mean to you, bro. Like they see you as a guy who's young or gal who's young who's trying to learn, you know what I mean? Or not necessarily even young, you're just looking to learn, and you're looking to learn from them, and they're going to be flattered by that. So use people like that as a resource to help you because they were exactly where you were before. Okay? So, yeah, focus on weight training, focus on your calories, and you have to be within a 300 calorie surplus. Okay. Now, I have other videos describing how you could do that. So just check those out. I don't want to go in too much detail with that right in this video, but you want to essentially what a calorie surplus means is you got to eat more than you were eating before. That's what it means. Like basically. Okay. And that's how you're going to put on that weight realistically. Okay. Um, and so if you up your protein intake and you up your calorie intake, and your protein intake should be about 1 pound per 1 gram per pound of body weight. So 150 pounds, 150 grams of protein. Or you can have a little bit less than that. You can multiply 150 by zero point 0.7, and that's also enough if you struggle to get your protein intake in. Okay. I don't know the numbers on the top of my head, but let's say you were 100 pounds, zero point 0.7 would be 70 grams of protein that you would have if you were 100 pounds. Okay. So do the calculations based off that. Just take your body weight, multiply it by 0. 0.7, and then that's the protein intake. And how I'd recommend intaking that is um, try to find at Costco or like wherever you live, buy buy a one bottle protein shake, try it out, see how you like it, like Fairlife or Muscle Milk. Those are good ones, and that's immediately going to increase your protein intake. And you could probably have it while you're in a gaming sesh, while you're watching anime. So there's really no excuse. It's just bottled up, made for you already. All you got to do is buy it. Especially with your busy schedule on work or being a student. You know what I mean? Buy it, and drink it. If you like it, buy it in bulk because it's probably going to be a lot cheaper. And then you drink it that way. So that'll be great. Yeah. So focus on that. Again, calorie surplus, okay, which means eating a little bit more, 300 calories more. And I have other videos that talk about that. Number two, your protein intake, and then resistance training. Biggest things. Carb, fats, those are great. You can have those in your diets, but don't get too specific on them. Don't go overboard into keto and all that stuff. Do that all later once you focused and honed down on the basics, okay? Next point. Learn to fall in love with the process. Learn to fall in love with the process. Why do I emphasize learn and love, okay? And what does that really mean? Learning means that this is something that's going to take time and it's like a skill. Okay, so falling in love with a process of doing something is a skill. And you might say, well, why do you even need to fall in love with that process to begin with? Good question. I had the same one. And I want you to think about it like this. Close your eyes with me, okay? Close your eyes. And yeah, you got to do the corny exercise with me, okay? So join along with me. Close your eyes. Imagine your dream physique, okay? Imagine looking at yourself. You're shredded. You're looking yourself in the mirror and you're smiling and you're there, you know? And how do you think that feels? How do you think that feels? Feels great, right? Now, what if I told you that that dream physique that you're thinking about, to attain it, you're going to have a set of actions to attain it. Now, you know that, right? You're going to have to hit the gym, you're going to have to do the protein, and you're going to have to do the calories that I just talked about, right? You're going to have to do that. But guess what you're also going to have to do after you've achieved that dream? Do the same thing, maybe a little bit less in the context of weightlifting or to maintain that body, but you still got to do it, right? And that's the point. You still have to do the same actions that got you there. So if the actions that got you there are going to be 99% of the things that you're doing and thinking about, right? Why don't you learn to fall in love with that? And that's what it means to fall in love with the process. It means falling in love with the actions that help you get to your dream, because those are the same actions that you're going to be doing even after your dream. Maybe a little bit less, but still, the point stands, right? Even after I get my dream physique, which I've already achieved, by the way, I bulked up for fun and now I'm going to cut. And I'm like, well, okay, now I'm even better. Cool. But I already achieved it. But guess what? I'm still doing the same actions. So if I can find a way to make this a lifestyle, then I'll win. Now the question becomes, okay, how do I find a way to make this a lifestyle? And I'll be honest, I can tell you exactly what I did and what helped me, but there's going to be a degree of variation with you and me, okay? That's just how it's going to be. For example, I like going on walks more than I think swimming is convenient, more than I think going on a treadmill is convenient. So whereas people like going on treadmills and doing all that for their cardio, I just go on walks because I like to. So the guy who enjoys the walk is going to walk further than the guy who doesn't. You've probably heard that before, right? And it's true. I just do it because it's fun. Like I do it because I record reels and videos. Where do you think I got all that beautiful scenery? You know what I mean? I just walk there, take my camera. I'm like, oh, cool, got my cardio in for the day. Just easy. It's easy. And I don't say that to brag. It's just easy because I actually like to do it. So it's not necessarily this huge form of discipline, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's not this pain gritting thing like, oh, I gotta go on a walk and then I'm gonna record my videos and then it's gonna be painful and it's gonna be sunny. I'm like, no, bro, it's a beautiful day. Lovely. Awesome. I'm having my tea. I'm having my tea right now. Gonna take a sip real quick. But yeah, it's that's how it's going to be. And so now let's take that in the context of weightlifting and how we can help improve that. Okay, maybe you like a timely workout. There's things for you there. Okay, maybe you want to build a certain sort of aesthetic physique, um, or maybe you want to build more of a different physique with different stats, just like you do in your RPG. Maybe you want a power build. Okay, maybe you want to be big and muscular. Maybe you want a bodybuilder build, something like I have kind of right now, more so. Maybe you want a lean aesthetic look, something like I did have. Okay, um, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see it, stuff like that. I don't want to post it up here because I like just keeping the video raw and authentic. But yeah, um, Yeah. So there's different builds you can go after too. And guess what? To make the gym more enjoyable, I like the color black a lot if you haven't been able to tell. I like it a lot. I also like wearing the rings and the bracelets and the, cool little aesthetic trident thing, and that all adds to the aesthetic of the gym for me. I can dress up for the gym. During like October, I'll dress up as my favorite anime character. I'll literally cosplay into the gym as Eren Yeager. You know what I mean? Or Miyamoto Musashi. You've seen me do it before. You know? I just do shit to have fun. Like, make this fun. This doesn't need to be the grueling, grunting process of you gotta have that pain. It's gonna be there. And that's what I feel like people mean when they're in the hustle culture about, like, oh, there's gonna be painful stuff. Yes, there is gonna be painful stuff that you're gonna have to encounter, right? Regardless of how much fun you can have with the process. But you don't have to go into this thinking that everything that you're gonna do is gonna be this painful thing, because it does not need to be, because on the outside what looks like discipline to you might just be fun for that guy. You know what I mean? For example, I used to be in my class, in my like courses at UTD. I would ask a lot of questions for my professors, not because I necessarily wanted to know the answers to the questions, but because I wanted to get comfortable and disciplined with the process of asking questions in front of a lot of people, because that's something I struggled with, talking in front of people. And when I did it more and more and more, it became a less of a disciplined thing because I was just good at it now. So when people look at me, they go, "Oh, he's so courageous for that." At a time, I was courageous for that because I acted despite my fear, or I acted in the presence of fear, right? That's courage and bravery. It's not acting in the absence of fear, because that is being fearless. So, acting even though like you don't want to, that's also what people mean when they say you got to be disciplined, you know? So, but with discipline, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have fun. You know what I mean? Because if you're disciplined, a lot of guys online, they're disciplined, but they look fucking miserable. And you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? You can have fun with it. You can listen, like for example, the things I do. I have like a sad playlist for the gym that I like listening to. I have a rock playlist. I have an anime playlist. I have what else? A hard style playlist is like boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? It goes hard. What else? I also have a very like a funk playlist, like slowed and reverbed funk. It's like really slow, makes you feel like a badass. You know what I mean? It's awesome. I love it. It's great. So, and then I also like having, juice with some creatine in it before the gym, because I that's what I like. That's just what I like. Make this enjoyable, because this is going to be a large part of your life. Okay? And if you make it enjoyable, chances are you're going to want to do it more. And when you do something more and more and more, the resistance becomes less and less and less to doing that thing. And so not only is there less resistance to doing that thing because you're doing it more and more and more and more, you are now also enjoying it. So maybe you do it for a longer period of time. Just a thought, you know? So that's what it means to fall in love with the process. Now, fifth and last lesson, there's no such thing as the wrong kind of motivation, but I put in parentheses, of course, nothing illegal. Okay. Okay. Of course, nothing illegal. Okay. Um, like you don't want to go to the gym, start selling the course, but then start human trafficking in the background instead, if you know what I mean. But, that probably pissed off a lot of you, but it is what it is. Just having some fun. But yeah. Um, what I mean by the wrong kind of motivation, okay, there's a few distinctions I want to make. There is, in my opinion, for me, how I look at it is there's negative motivations and then positive motivations. And then there's a weak mindset and a strong mindset and a weak mindset. Okay. If you're anywhere in the spectrum of, okay, I have the wrong or bad motivations. I don't want to call them wrong because I don't see them as wrong. Bad motivations. So bad motivations look like you're vengeful. Someone thought you weren't enough So you decided you're going to show them and how good you are, and you're going to come back better, and they're going to wish they never left you. That's a motivation, a negative motivation, I would say, because negative is more of like the the negative emotion that you're feeling. Fear, fear that you're never going to find someone that likes you or loves you because you don't feel attractive enough, you don't feel enough. I know I felt that way before. Heartbreak, we've been through something like that, especially when you get rejected, you know what I mean? And you feel like you're going to be perpetually lonely, you're like a hopeless romantic. Um, and I say these things because I know, like, deep down, a lot of y'all relate. It just feels corny to say it because you have no one else to say it to, you know? And then you also have the positive motivations. So I think you get the gist of the negative motivations. You have the positive motivations. Positive motivation is like, I want to be healthy. Yeah. I want to live a long life. Yeah. I want to be old enough to see my grandkids. Yeah. Those are all good. I all see these as not good or bad, but just it is, because the human life is an experience. And maybe you didn't get to experience these things for you to be able to use it as fuel in an authentic way. Because if I told you that, oh, you want to live long enough to see your grandkids, maybe you don't even know what that means yet. You know what I mean? Because we're not that old yet. So I always say use the fuel that you have, you know? Because if you're going to put it into something good, and that's what counts. Using something bad or good, doesn't matter, but then taking whatever bad or good thing you're feeling and then putting it into something good, that's the key. That's what matters. That's all that matters. There's so many times where I didn't want to go to the gym because I was just feeling bad that day, or I had bad thoughts about things. Or I'd think about my past and how thinking about certain people made me feel so little. Like the people who rejected me or told me that I wasn't enough, or being surrounded by certain people, you know, always put me in this weird negative state of mind. And I'm not saying that it was ever their fault or anything like that, because at the end of the day, I had my choice to surround myself with them. And that's what I mean when I say you can't change them, but you can change yourself in a way that you're not always surrounding yourself by them. You can change the people around. You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. That's what that means. So so yeah, on that point, I had a lot of negative motivations, and I would use that in the gym. And there was times where I was like lying down on one of the machines because that's how it works, and I would literally start crying. I would literally start crying. And I use that as a way to push through my set and allow my muscles to go to failure, which is basically something which basically means that you keep doing the exercise with the best proper form that you can, as but and not necessarily as heavy as you can go, but as heavy as you can handle and control the weight. And you keep going until you can't go anymore. That's what it means to go to failure. So your muscles like really, really tired. And you usually do that on the last set of the exercise, because then you're done with that exercise, right? So, but yeah, there was times where I would literally cry. Like you could, like my teardrops, they would literally just fall onto the ground as I was doing that exercise, as I was listening to the music. So I say that to say that, not to get any sort of pity or anything like that, but to say that you don't have to have that positive, great mindset, because maybe you feel like there's no reason for you to have that to begin with. So I tell you, like, use what you can, use what you can, use what's available to you. Now, let's distinguish what that means from a weak mindset, or sorry, I keep saying weak on top, strong mindset and a weak mindset, right? Now, even if you have negative motivations or positive motivations, you could still have like a weak mind behind that. And the weak mind is essentially the mind that doesn't allow you to take action. And I think that is more of a symptom that comes from the fact that you're not taking care of yourself to begin with the most basic human needs. Sleep, okay? If you're spiritual, prayer, like myself. If you don't completely believe in God or prayer, I get it. I was there as well. I reverted to Islam, right? So for me, it's a little different, but I know a lot of the God speak doesn't work with a lot of y'all because you just don't completely understand it yet. And what I tell you is like, if you really want to learn about it, go straight to the book and not the followers of the book. Okay? That's the best way I would put it. That's the most simple way without like getting too away from the point. But and meditation, third one. Sleep, spirituality, meditation. And if you just do like two of these, sleep is something we all need anyway. So basically, you're just doing one of these, you know? Make sure you just get proper sleep. Dude, the amount of times if you just get proper sleep, that you'd avoid snacking on garbage food, that you'd avoid doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, like going on adult sites, doing dumb stuff, being unproductive with your time, clicking and scrolling. Oh my God, I'm so guilty of literally every single one of those. What else? Not going to the gym. Even as a coach, I've skipped the gym because I didn't sleep too well. And that is actually a good thing to do because if you're not well rested, it's not going to be good. But then if it becomes a habit, you're going to keep skipping the gym. And that is what the main issue becomes. That is the problem. So I'd be very, very careful with that. So if you wanted to see a lot of the results, and this is actually one of the things that I didn't mention in my other section, but one of the things that helps you also get the results is from the recovery perspective, sleep. A lot of you are so worried about steroids, test boosters, because you want to get somewhere so fast that you forget it's not going to be worth it later. It's just not. Too many people have said it's not going to be worth it that have done it, and they're really stopping you. People like Greg Doucette, you know what I mean? Um, on the internet, great guy, you know, talks about how steroids are not the move, and people do it because hate is what gets the engagement on the internet, and and to some degree they're not flawed for that mindset because it's working. You know what I mean? So I know I'm going a little off track here, but like people want things fast. And so because the hateful things go on top, they see all the people using steroids and abusing it and winning from it in a fame way or in a way that gives them clout, in a way that gives them all these things, but it doesn't give them that longevity, you know, because they think they're going to have it forever, but they're not. And so I'm saying this to say, like, I actually don't completely know where I was going with that. I felt like I got so sidetracked that, but yeah, that I feel like if you're doing all these things, it's going to build up a very, very weak mindset. So I wanted to make that distinction. You can have negative motivations and positive motivations, and you can have those things, and it's completely fine because you're going to have the fuel that you want and to be able to use it. But a weak mindset, what distinguishes a weak mindset from a strong mindset is a strong mindset. You prioritize getting your sleep. That's like the actionable step that you can do. You to be able to have a stronger mindset because then you're going to be less likely to be tempted by a lot of the things I mentioned. All the addictions, all the gambling, all the junk food eating, and most importantly, um, skipping the gym. Okay, because it's not good for you to not sleep enough for the gym either. If you're getting everything in, but you're sleeping like garbage because you're playing, league ranked all night. Let's be honest, you haven't won a single ranked game of League, Rainbow Six, fucking Overwatch, and you don't even really enjoy it. You just enjoy hanging out with the people. You might as well play Minecraft and go to bed on time. You know what I mean? So one tip that really helped me with this was setting an alarm for when you have to go to sleep rather than setting an alarm for waking up because then you consistently sleep at one point and it's more natural to awaken, you know what I mean, without an alarm. It's more naturally to wow, I can't talk, to get awake once. Oh my god, I like it. Am I having a brain aneurysm? What's happening? Okay, yeah, it is better to be able to set that alarm and then and then to be able to fall asleep. Okay, because then like we always forget, and then like time flies by, and it's like, oh my god, I don't want to. If anything, set multiple alarms, kind of like you do for waking up, but do that instead for sleeping. You know what I mean? So it becomes more natural to wake up because you're sleeping on the same time every day with those alarms, and have multiple alarms so that, when it's time to go to sleep, if you're in a ranked game for one of those alarms, you might not be in a ranked game for a second one of those alarms. So it keeps reminding you, you know what I mean? It keeps planting that seed. So that's something that helped. Sleep enough through those alarms, start to meditate. And if you don't know about meditation, there's a link in there should be a link in some of my free stuff down there in the description talking about meditation. Just follow along. I know it's like a 15-minute video, 10-minute, 15-minute video. Just follow along for 2 minutes. That's all you got to do. When you start slow. Okay, so you kind of understand it, what it is. And I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, I have an ADHD mind, I can't really like focus on that. I mean, I don't know if y'all can tell by the way I'm talking. I'm not diagnosed, but a lot of people think clinically that they have a lot of ADHD, and it's being overprescribed right now. I know because I intern at a psychiatric clinic, and so a lot of the ways I know that has really helped with meditation, or at least the studies show, like meditation can help with a lot of that stuff. But you have to start slow. You know, it's when you build it up to this big thing of I got to do 10 minutes or 15 minutes a day that increases the friction, because now you're telling yourself to take this big step on something you've never done before. It's like going to the gym and I tell you, first day, you better bench 400 pounds. It's not happening. Oh, the video game you open, yeah, you better be GM ranked one on R6, on League, on Overwatch when you first start. It's just not happening. It's not happening. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, again, like build that strong mindset through the sleep and meditation. I'm just giving you those two things because I think they're so powerful. The small amount of things that give you the most amount of results, as we mentioned, they're so powerful. And if you're a Muslim like me, like try to focus more on your prayers, and like focus on the timings of your prayers, and just try to build that connection with God literally just by talking with Him after your prayer. That really helped me, because sometimes this goes back to point two. Sometimes you don't have a support system. So you can look to God for that. You can tell him the things that you can't tell anybody else. You can cry to him when you can't cry to anybody else. And that's what really, really helped me. So, and I'm not perfect at it by all means. Like don't think that I'm some sort of saint because I told you this. I still struggle with it. But all we can do is just get better, right? We can't really fix anything we did in the past. It's just all about getting better now, like forgiving yourself for that. Like it's okay that I did that. And if I dwell on that too much, I'll end up making more mistakes than if I was to just forgive myself and move on and let go and be like, okay, it's okay. I'm human. I'm supposed to be imperfect, but that doesn't mean that, I can't get better. So, uh, so yeah, build that strong mindset, and it's okay to have any of those motivations. In the meantime, as long as you don't project it, and that's the biggest thing. If you have those negative motivations and you put it into something positive like the gym, you won't allow those negative motivations to manifest elsewhere in your life that could harm things like your relationships with people, like the way you go about things. And that's so much better, because you don't want to make life worse and regress it by doing stuff like that you'll regret. And you and and it'll end up becoming the same cyclical cycle of someone said something bad to you and made you feel like you weren't enough, and made you feel like you should be lonely and that you're not deserving, and then you go out and project the exact same thing onto someone else. It's like you tilt the world into a little bit more of a negative direction, and that fucking sucks, dude. So focus on taking it out into the gym. That's why I call anybody who's an athlete or goes to the gym the universal garbage men of the world, because when they lock in, when they have their hoodies on and they just have their music on, and it's just them and their thoughts, and telling them that they won't be enough, all these things, all these negative motivations that I was personally driven by. If you're driven by positive stuff, great, lovely, keep it up, do the good work, all right? Because it's hard to transition from this to this, from negative to positive. But if you're driven by negative, I would just use it, because you have two scenarios. You either stay negative and you project all of that into the world and you tell people, yeah, that happened to me, so I'm going to do it to everybody else. Kind of like how the anime antagonist does it, right? I felt the pain, so everybody else must feel the pain as well. But if you want to be more the protagonist, you feel that pain, you carry that burden, and you make sure no one else feels that. And you do that by taking that pain, making yourself better, and then allowing other people to rise around you, to be surrounded by you because now you're a winner and now you help them out. So, yeah, be the protagonist, be the Tanjiro, the Naruto, the Ichigo, the Goku, you know. And shit, I even still listen to anime hardstyle in the gym because it really helps me out. You know what I mean? And that's like where I learned a lot of my basic foundation of morality through the storytelling of anime. And that's how I came back to Islam, is because I realized that fundamentally it was also doing storytelling and telling these magnificent stories about the prophet and his character. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I know those were supposed to be 5 lessons, but they turned into something a little bit more. Hope y'all don't mind the extra information or anything like that. And if you're looking for a community to join where you feel like you're related to me heavily in this video, I'm making a community completely free. Um, that has people who like gaming who are also into anime, and I'm looking to like build that up right now as we're speaking, because I don't know what people want and what people don't want. So if you're interested and you think it'd be cool to have people who are also into the same things you are but also want to progress in fitness, click in the link in the description below. I hold like Q&A calls, again, all of it free. The only time it's not free is when you're working with me one on one personally, because like that takes up my time, and I want to put all my time and attention and focus to you and make sure you're committed to me. So that's when it obviously is going to cost something. But being in the free community, everything's free for now. So like join while you can. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Okay. Long video, I know, but yeah, peace. Take it easy.